Back again. Right, hopefully it'll work this time. Spot on my head. Right, how is everyone? Right, let's get sorted. Come on, Mr. Elvis. Let's be having ya. Come on. Yeah, so this is our first ever Facebook Live, as you can tell. And we're just trying to figure out how to do everything because I've done a load of Facebook Lives from obviously the clubs over here in Croatia, but I've never done an interview as such, and it's a little bit different. So yeah, we're just trying to figure this out. I don't think Howard's phone was accepting it back in Ibiza, so I'm just waiting for him to come on now. There he is. Right, add Howard, add that. Hey, there he is.
Hey!
There he is. It worked. It worked.
We got there in the end. We're having technical difficulties at Disgracelands here.
Oh my God, that's like take 450-10. Fuck no. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, this is our first ever Facebook Live, and yeah, we've been ruthlessly organising this over the last couple of days, and we've royally fucked it, haven't we?
We have. We finally got there about 5-10 minutes late with some technical issues, but we're here. And I've also brought a friend along. I've also brought a friend along, Dexter. I want to introduce you to my friend that's been in DC 10 since 1999. There he is.
Hello, mate.
He's still got a little bit of vodka left.
Get in there.
I found him in DC 10 car park.
You're joking. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Anyway, Howard, thank you very much for joining us. I just got to say thank you to all everybody who's joined the group since April. Yeah, he's obviously done too much. You know what I mean. But yeah,
brilliant.
Everyone who's joined the group since April. It was a massive accident. I was left alone by my missus one evening. On a Saturday night, Sunday night, and I just opened this group and woke up the next day, and we had 2,000 members already, and it was just a massive shock. And within a few months, we're organising the reunion for next year, and it's just gone crazy. And we've had this is how crazy it went. In 4 weeks, Howard, we had 500,000 reactions, likes, posts, comments, and shares within the group in 4 weeks. And it just
I saw the progress and I was amazed, like everyone else. I mean, fair play to you, Dexter. You've done really well, and it just exploded so quickly. And within the first week, I think Mixmag wrote an article about it.
They certainly did. They certainly did. That means we're really cool, isn't it?
Well, mate, you gain momentum, and I think it's just at the right time as well when people are kind of looking back to the old days. And I think you picked the right moment, and 10 out of 10 for doing this. And obviously with the reunion coming up, I mean, you and Nick Ferguson are doing some great work with that. Yeah, so I'm really happy for you.
I've got to say, I've got to give Nick a really big shout, because obviously nowadays I'm based in Croatia with my little young family. And a big shout out to Nick Ferguson, because he's on the ground over in Ibiza, and many of you guys on here will understand and know who Nick is and the great job he's done over the last 10 years. So none of the reunion could ever be happening if it wasn't for him, because someone has to be on site. And he's great at what he does, and he's really joined the dots for us over there. He's been like the glue in the sand as such.
He's a powerhouse over here, you know, from someone who started off. You know, I think he started off flyering back in the early 2000s, and you know, now he's a big player on the island. So got a lot of respect for Nick Ferguson.
Yeah, no, big shout out to Nick. So the whole idea of these chats, we're really lucky. We've got 10, 15, 20 years of amazing content. I mean, all the stories, all the tales of Ibiza. There's so much that we can tap into, and there's only so much you can do on posts and Facebook and blogs and stuff like that. So I just thought that it would be absolutely brilliant to get you guys, the characters and the people that made those years, on board with these stupid little chats. So here we are. Now, should we just start? I mean, I think should we? I mean, how did you first arrive in Ibiza, Howard? I know you tapped into a little bit with the post that we put out when we introduced that you were going to be doing this. So start from the beginning.
Well,
great.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'll give you a quick version as best I can. So basically, I was in a little bit of trouble. I was 19
Right.
years of age, and I started seeing this married woman, so to speak, and her ex-husband was a bouncer. Yeah, so he was the bouncer of all of the clubs. He had the security company for all of the clubs and bars in Brighton, which meant that I couldn't get in any bar or club in Brighton when I was 19, and I kept having run-ins with this guy, and I remember him caught me once out the back garden, and I jumped over the fence like a bloody cat, and I was out of there because he would have torn me. Yeah, it was one of those ones. Yeah. So anyway, so basically, I hope he's not watching this, by the way. Anyway, so what happened was I decided that I'd had enough. You know, I was 19, things weren't working out in Brighton, my hometown. So I kind of did a runner, and I ended up going to Gatwick Airport, where I had my tax rebate in my back pocket, just cashed that in. So I had a couple of grand on me, 19, thinking, where should I go? I need to broaden my horizons. So I get to Gatwick Airport. I have a couple of beers, and I start to get a little bit pissed, obviously. And I'm thinking Spain. It's got to be Spain, somewhere mainland Spain. And then all of a sudden, these two American guys come rocking up to me and, introduce themselves. And they were over in England to see Ozzy Osbourne Festival in Birmingham. Okay. So they had met a group of lads in a bar in London, and they told them about Ibiza. And these guys had a couple of days to kill before the Ozfest. And they told me the story, and I was like, fuck it, I'm coming with you. Let's go to Ibiza.
Wow.
And we got off the plane, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, bags chucked into the hotel in Playa de Bossa, straight to space. And, you know, I was already a little bit of a raver myself back then anyway, so I loved it. And immediately started making friends. The American dudes were lightweight, so they just folded after a few hours, and I continued to crack on and ended up at Manumission.
Oh,
so
dear.
June 1998, I'm in Manumission on my own, running around with all the entertainers, and still some of my best friends now. Kevin Randall, who used to be called Crocodile Kev, one of the gurning policemen at Manumission. They used to walk around sticking parking tickets on people. You've been caught gurning in a non-gurning zone, that kind of vibe. And then my friend Keith, Roast Beef Keith, he was an entertainer there as well. So anyway, so I hooked up with these guys, and we become friends very quickly. And they used to have a tradition where they used to walk back from Manumission all the way from Privilege back to San Antonio. So I joined them on this adventure, and we're going in and out of the old farms, all the old fenkers and all the old ruins, and we finally make it back to Bar M. They call it Manumission on the Tuesday morning, and that's where everyone went for a few hours before they continued to Spades and Bora Bora, blah blah blah. So anyway, we swam out into the harbour, and we tried to nick a boat. We're climbing up the side of this boat.
As you do.
This guy this guy caught us and took us back to shore on his tender. And anyway, as you can imagine, I struck up a good relationship with these guys, and they said, you should come back next week and be an entertainer. So I went back the week later, and I got introduced to Dorian, who was the
Dorian. I know Dorian very well.
Yeah, he was a character.
He was.
Big shout out to Dorian, love you, mate. And he said, yeah, I heard about you. I want you to be an entertainer, but you're too late. We haven't got any costumes left. He said, rummage around in that chest over there. There was like a chest full of toys and shit and all the, the mad outfits that used to go on at Manumission. And there was one outfit left, and it was a dirty old Elvis suit from the year before. Right. So I whacked it on, and Elvis was born.
And the rest is history. And so what was your thing with Elvis? Is that what you just were Elvis everywhere you went, or did you? It was just for Manumission, or a lot of people have seen the photos, but it's just mad to think that. I mean, you were at DC-10 and the Garlands thing, and.
Yeah, I mean, it just took over. You're right, Dexter. It took over. Basically, it turned into something. Yeah, it turned into something bigger than me, basically. So what happened was, it was all about escapism. I was doing a runner, don't forget, and then all of a sudden, within a week, I'm bloody Elvis Presley. And then, so then when I realised that I was only getting paid 20 quid a night for this, I was like, right, okay, well, I've got to find a way of earning more money or expand on this character. Yeah. So then I started doing gigs purely at Manumission. I was like an exclusive Elvis impersonator for them. And then in my second year, I decided I wanted a pay rise. So I went knocking on the door of Andy Manumission and I said, "Oi, I want a pay rise."
Yeah.
and he was like, "Well, you've got to justify a pay rise. Just go off and come up with a better idea rather than just walking around dressed as Elvis." So at the time, I don't know if you remember, in the late 90s, there was like these acrobats called Shim Jim Rui.
Yeah.
And they were a spin-off from Cirque du Soleil guys. So they used to do this mad bungee jumping around the club, and they would just like come out of the sky and just nick someone's drink and disappear into the rafters kind of thing. They were really cool. So then I thought, look, I've got to expand on this. So why don't I do the Elvis death scene? So Elvis died on the toilet eating a cheeseburger in 1977. 1977. So basically, he died on the toilet, had a massive heart attack, eating a cheeseburger. So I thought, fuck it, I'll reenact that because it's Manumission. There's live sex shows on the stage. It's all a little bit mad. You've got Fernando sucking himself off on the fucking stage as well. So I thought, I've got to be just as mad as these guys. So I come back with that idea and we pulled it off. And I used to die on the toilet every Monday night eating a cheeseburger, and then I get pulled to the roof. And then I used to bungee jump back down with angel wings on, and it was like the resurrection of Elvis.
This is the story. This is why I wanted to do these interviews, because no one would really believe the goings on of some of those clubs, like back in the day with Manumissions, the Space, the Bora Boras. The stuff that we used to get up to was just ridiculous. And we'd probably either be arrested, put in a loony bin, or disowned. You know what I mean? If we did that nowadays, I don't think you could do half the stuff nowadays. And this is what I really wanted to tap back into some of those old memories. Now with Elvis, is Elvis now dead or?
Well, look, I'll tell you what happened. Basically, again, after doing the Death Show and the Elvis resurrection, let's say, I started getting calls from other clubs, and then that's when I started breaking away from being exclusive to Manumission. So I've done Space, I've done the 12th anniversary of Space live show with Eric Murillo, and in fact, I bumped in. I don't just a little spur off. I bumped into Pepe Rosario, the ex-owner of Space, the legend, at Cole Cox's birthday this Tuesday, and we were reminiscing about this story when I sung "Happy Birthday" to Space on the 12th anniversary. So I'm going back a good 16, 17 years. So anyway, so what happened was I started getting gigs around like Amnesia. I've done Space. I've done Pasha. I'd done Pasha with Junkie XL in 2002. You know, we made that track, Little Less Conversation, about the Elvis remix. So I've done that with him. That was really cool because we'd done another show in Space where it was Junkie XL versus Elvis, and they put him in a red ring on a podium and I was in the blue ring, and it was like a boxing match kind of thing while he was DJing and stuff. So it was really cool. And then what happened was, let's just fast forward a little bit, and to some of the bigger gigs I did, I ended up meeting Jamiroquai. Funny little story. Wow. Jamiroquai was down at the bass bar. I used to run the bass bar as the host. I wasn't the manager. I was the host, kind of PR guy. And I come running into work late as I usually was, and I knocked this little guy flying, and his Trilby hat come flying off, and I picked him up, put his little hat on him. I was like, fuck, it's JK. So we struck it off straight away, and then anyway, I brought him a drink, and he was within minutes talking about how many Ferraris he's got, and it was like me, and I was like, oh. And I had this Hawaiian shirt on, and I had these joke exploding cigarettes, So they were like little wicks, and you put them inside a real cigarette, and then you light it, and it just fucking blows your fag to smithereens. So anyway, so I thought, this guy's talking about himself so much, I'm going to do him up with a couple of these exploding fags, and later on he's going to be in the VIP area with a load of girls wrapped around him, and his fag's going to blow up, and he's going to look like a complete wanker. So anyway, I tucked this guy up and put about 3 of these exploding cigarette wicks in there, do a lap of honour around the bar, come back, pull a cigarette out, I'll light it, and it's fine. It was like Russian roulette, Then he's pulled out a cigarette, lit it, and I wasn't even expecting it as well. We both went up against the wall, his hat come off, and he went bob-side, and his cigarette was just completely exploded. Then I laughed, and I told him the story that my plan was to tuck him up later in the night. Anyway, 2 hours later, I was doing an Elvis show on the balcony of the bar that I used to do every Saturday night, and he climbed up the drain pipe, there's actually footage of it somewhere, and joined me on the balcony of the bass bar. In return, 3 weeks later, he called me up and said, look, I've been on your stage, I want you to come on my stage. So I went over and opened up a show for him in Barcelona in front of 30,000 people. Yeah.
Whoa.
So that was a highlight. That was a big... Sorry?
That's great. I never knew that. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. But there's one better. There's one better than that. Where the last ever Elvis show I ever did was with Fatboy Slim in Rio, and basically I was backpacking through South America at the time, and I had my Elvis suit with me, and I wanted to take photographs, like photographs of Elvis at Machu Picchu, Elvis at the Christ statue in Rio. And then anyway, it turns out Norman was there. He's an old friend from here originally, but we stayed friends over the years, and he's a lovely guy. And he invited me on stage with him. And there was, we got there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Copacabana Beach, 2004, and there was 150,000 people there. And by the time we went on, there was 475,000 people there, and it was the biggest show I've ever did in my life.
Wow.
And that's where Elvis died. Elvis died in Rio in 2004.
Right, okay. There's one thing that we found from the group that's been really, really popular, and that's the Garlands days, the free parties. Now,
how could I forget the Garlands days?
I mean, many of your friends and my friends know about the story from Garlands, but I'm sure there's a few people who will be watching this who'll be quite intrigued to know what happened on that fateful afternoon, because it's an absolute classic.
Well, do you know what? There's actually a precursor to it that's not as mad, but it's kind of like building up to it. So basically, I was paid by Garlands to fly their flag around, yeah? So like, you know, on the microlight. So I was strapped to a guy who was flying.
Basically, you were on a microlight. A lot of people won't know that, but you're actually flying a microlight, were you?
Yeah, but the guy behind me, you couldn't really see him. He was strapped behind me. He was kind of flying it, but you could only see me dressed as Elvis with the big Garlands banner, yeah? So we started off our little trip down in Salinas, yeah? So we wanted to fly the Garlands flag down Salinas first, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then when I met the microlight pilot, it turned out very quickly, it became apparent very quickly, this guy was a complete raving fucking alcoholic, yeah? From Argentina. So he had a bottle of Jack Daniels strapped to the side of him, and he was a complete nutcase. So we run down the hill near Salinas, and there's like, you know, the headland there, and we try to take off, and we stack it in a load of bushes, and it's kind of like a little bit dangerous. We're close to the cliff. Anyway, we finally take off, and this guy was a bit of a prankster. So we're flying around Es Cavallette, you know, where the dunes are, where there's a little gay scene going on there in the dunes, you know. So we're flying over this little gay area, and he's cut the engine off and pretended that we run out of petrol. So we're fucking crash landing into a group of fucking gay guys tucking into each other around the dunes. And they're all waving me in, you know, like every gay guy's dream, you know, fucking Elvis falling out the sky and landing with his head in the air, sand and his arse in the air. So as we're about 10 foot above their heads, he starts the engine again, and we go, "Ray!" And he goes, "Oh, I'm only joking, Elvis." so anyway, my heart was fucking going. Then the big moment was we got to Kenya. So we fly around to Kenya. And then we make the approach, and the plan was to land on the beach. And the pilot's gone, "Elvis, too many people on the beach." And he started panicking, and I thought, oh, he's not even joking this time. So the engine started spluttering. We were panicking, he was panicking, and we crash landed into the roof of Kenya and rolled off the roof and landed into the car park all tangled up.
Oh my!
And they had to come and cut us out of the parachute. We was that tangled up. And then I think Barry from Garlands and a couple of girls come and got me, and they run me up to the cocktail bar where I climbed up. I think who was DJing? I think Brandon and Alex were DJing. I think maybe, And then we done Suspicious Minds, and I stage dived into the crowd full of dust. Fucking brilliant.
Those parties were legendary, and I just think that really kicked it off. Some of the stories we've got now, but in your more recent years, let's talk about what you've been doing. You've we've all kind of grown up a little bit since those days, and you've gone and opened your own business over there. Obviously not Ibiza Elvis related, but you've now got Ibiza Unlocked. And how did that all come about?
Well, basically, I left the island in 2003 unexpectedly from other situations. So, and I intended to come back in 2004, but anyway, it didn't happen. I left the island in 2003, and the whole time I used this as a metaphor. I lived in Barcelona, I lived in Brighton, where I'm from, I lived in London, I ended up in Dubai. But the whole time, 13 years, it was like breaking up with a super hot girl. Yeah, I'm talking about Ibiza now. So. And she's like waving at me from across the world. I'm still here. I've still got the nice ass. I've still got the nice tits. Blah blah blah. Why don't you come back to me? So Dubai was a stepping stone for me to come back. And when I was there, I was selling property, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to go back doing Elvis. You know, I'm going to go back and do something a little bit more.
It's too dangerous.
It's got more legs in it. Yeah. So I had the idea for Ibiza Unlocked in Dubai, and I made my way back. I've been back 3 years ago now. It took me a little bit of time to find my feet back on the island, so to speak. But last year I launched Ibiza Unlocked, and Ibiza Unlocked is we're a travel company. We look after the middle to high end clients. You know, we do the boat charters, we do the villas, we do the yachts, but we also do like bespoke itineraries. You know, like guided tours, secret beaches. I don't promote the beaches that we're actually showing the people, because obviously there's stuff on the island, places on the island that remain hidden gems. So I just put them in little secret places and take the clients there. And I mean, look, it's going from strength to strength. I mean,
awesome.
Look, last year we got very lucky, thanks to Norman Cook again, Fatboy Slim. He's doing a film right now. He's making the score for a movie that's going to be called Ibiza the Silent Movie, and it's out soon. It's directed by Julian Temple, and we were honoured by myself and my company to run the production of that. So we've done all the location sourcing, the permits to film. I ended up the last shoot. I ended up being the assistant director because they sacked the girl on the spot because loads of things went wrong. So we were multitasking, and we were a very, very big part of this film, and I'm very honoured to be involved. And it's coming out very soon. So Ibiza the Silent Movie. Check
Fantastic.
it out.
Well, we'll definitely give it a plug on the group. And I hear you had like a rather busy weekend last weekend.
Last weekend, oh Jesus Christ! It was my 40th, and I had my brother and all the. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. So, I made it. You know, they say 1 year closer to pissing yourself, so I'm nearly there.
You spent a lot. You spent a lot of it with Danny and Andy's Clockwork Orange, didn't you? So. It looked incredible. It looked incredible.
Do you know what? It was amazing, and these guys. I mean, they've done it. I think the last 5 years running this. Ibiza Weekender, and they're obviously doing some more gigs back in the UK. And this one, I'll tell you, it blew my mind. My brother come over, all these mad nutters from the old days, the '98 crew and everything, and it was really, really super cool. But the guys, Andy and Danny, Clockwork Boys, they put on such a great event. Five parties over a weekend. There was a boat party involved. There was obviously a little thing at Mambo, sunset thing. The park was incredible. The Benamusa Park was absolute 10 out of 10. And I'm not, even though I work in the VIP industry, I'm not really a VIP table kind of person, but for my birthday, they gave me the best table in the house, and that was really, really kind of them. So big shout out to Danny and Andy for that. All the DJs were great, Tall Paul, Seb Fontaine, Paul Oakenfold, Brandon Alex, Lisa Loud, too many to mention. But the beach party on the Sunday as well at Nassau Tanit, I mean, epic scenes everywhere. I mean, for me, I live here all year round. I'm blessed by living here all year round. But that was my summer in a weekend, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's incredible what they're doing. And I think it kind of, I've been seeing what Danny's been doing with Clockwork for a few years. And then obviously we've got a lot of the brands, like we had the Slut Parties and Shipwrecked of our own, which were 2000 onwards. And it kind of, I think that kind of inspired me a little bit to open the group, because originally I just wanted to start, I was just toying in my head, shall we do another Slut Party? Shall we just do get all the old school together? And the group was a reason why it opened. So yeah, it's massively inspiration, and I think it's definitely time for us lot to start coming back together and enjoying those times together, because it's a big family over in Ibiza, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's people are starting to look back. You know, if you go to like the early 2000s, the music went like minimal tech, and it started getting
Very
a little bit
much
boring.
so, yeah.
And then good old Jamie Jones. A lot of us know Jamie Jones from the old days when he was a worker out here as well. He created that new sound and everything, a bit of more vocal back on the dance floor, and it's all starting to. People are starting to look back a little bit more, and that's why Clockwork Orange are doing really well. And you guys have picked up so much momentum off the back of this, because a lot of the old crew from the late 90s or early 2000s and all that kind of, you know, 2000, 2010 want to come back and relive that, and you're creating that. So as I say, well done.
I mean, you're right in saying that. The sound is out there is so different now to what we were used to in the 2000s, and I think that's a lot of the reason. Maybe, I still love it, but I very much prefer the sound that we were into back in the 2000s. So yeah, there is some space for what we're doing, and we'll certainly find out next October when we start. And so yeah, I think should we call it a day on that one, because I know we wanted to keep it nice and short and sweet, but yeah, no, it's been absolutely wonderful having you on here tonight, especially for our first one, even if it was a bit of a beginning, which I knew it would be no matter what.
If you don't mind, Dexter, I'd just like to mention about San Antonio, and
of course,
obviously,
yes,
you know,
course. Yeah,
we're going for the island. Yeah, the island's going through a bit of a change at the moment, and there's some new laws that have come in. That, I mean, the West End has to close at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and obviously there's lots of business owners that are really upset about that, and hope there's a new election coming up in the next year. So hopefully some things changes. But San Antonio will always be one of the best places for me. You know, it's where I cut my teeth. I lived above the Highlander in '98.
Wow.
You know, I started from the very, very bottom there, and you know, and I'll always hold San Antonio very close to my heart. I still go over there quite a lot to see Tony Truman at Ocean Beach. They're doing fantastic stuff over there. But I just wanted to say that you know, the scene is changing, but the magic is always here and will always be here. It's been here long before us, and it will continue to be here long after.
Indeed. Absolutely. I mean,
so I want to big up San Antonio and all the San Antonio workers.
I mean, I'm San An through and through, and next week, I think it's next week. No, it's the week after next. We've actually got Shaggy, Martin Makepeace, coming.
That'd be a good one.
Doing an interview on this, because I think we're all concerned about some of the press that San An's getting and some of the bullshit they're having to put up with, which is completely unfair. And I think we do need the voice of people like Martin and yourself on board on these sort of interviews to really get that message out there. Things are changing. Things are changing from the 80s, from the 90s, but yeah, it's just everything's moving on a bit. But I think this group is nothing but supportive of San An, mate, we had some times in San An, didn't we? Good grief.
legendary times. And that's why I mean, after 1998, after the first season, I felt like this guy.
That's class. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, on that note, I think we'll leave it. That has been brilliant. Thank you so much. And yeah,
thank you, Dexter. Thank you so much.
We will catch up again very soon. And by the way, everybody watching this, Howard, also, you have your own vlogs about your business, Ibiza Unlocked, as well. So please, people, if you're having a little, if you want to go and check out what Howard's up to, he does is it a weekly vlog you do, or is it bi-weekly?
Yeah, I'll try and, because I'm so busy at the moment. I have to do it intermittently. So I have 2 series. I have one called Ibiza Unlocked Island Insights, which gives little 2-minute little snippets of new little things that are going on, or like hidden beaches and stuff. And then I have a day in the life of Ibiza Unlocked, where I just explain a little bit about how my day-to-day process is with Ibiza Unlocked. So tune in, guys. It's good fun.
Definitely.
Some of them are a little bit told inspirational, so I'd like to think that's a good thing for everyone, you know.
From a man who used to dress as Elvis and crash microlights. Brilliant. Howard,
yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being a brilliant first guest on this, because yeah, it was a bit daunting going in, But no, thank you so much. It's been great chatting to you, and I'll speak to you really, really soon.
Cheers, guys, and Dexter, keep up the good work with the reunion. I'm really looking forward to it.
Do. We're going to smash it to pieces next year. Nice one, buddy.
Exactly. Take care. Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.